Right, I'm with Jackie Scully, who's the editor of Countryside Voice. Jackie, can you tell me a bit about that magazine?
The Countryside Voice magazine is the magazine for the Campaign to Protect Rural England. So it's a customer magazine that goes out to about 33,000 of its members, and the idea behind it is that it's used to kind of drive support, retain members, and look at the latest campaigning issues that affect members in the countryside.
Okay, now customer magazines are a particularly interesting and important sector. What are they exactly? Can you tell us?
Customer magazines, unlike the ones that you see on the bookshelves, are usually the magazine that arrives on your doorstep, the one that perhaps you know about or perhaps you don't. If you subscribe to kind of a membership organisation, you're likely to get one with those. And the idea is that they're used more as a marketing tool to really talk to members and customers and really kind of drive products and campaigns related depending on which magazine that you're talking about.
Okay, and the readers, when they get these magazines, do you hope that they look and feel like the consumer magazine that they might pick up in W.H. Smith's or somewhere?
I think that's the idea. A lot of people tend to think of them as the kind of the poor man's version, but in fact they actually have to work a lot harder than a lot of newsstand titles because they have to push through that kind of barrier that if I'm reading it for free, then obviously it's not worth my while, and I think a lot of them do that very well.
Okay. Countryside Voice, what are the readers like? Have you got a picture of the typical reader?
I would imagine a typical reader to be living in the home counties and driving a Jeep or something like that, or perhaps more eco-friendly, and someone who's really well connected to the countryside, perhaps not that web savvy, and someone who just really wants to get involved with key environmental issues that affect the quality and tranquility of the countryside rather than necessarily climate change.
So in terms of content, either a good feature or a good article, what would it be those environmental concerns, the concerns about the countryside that you would look for subjects around?
What we try to do with the magazine is really celebrate the countryside. We're not looking for a kind of chocolate box countryside. We're really talking about the real issues that affect the countryside, such as livestock in the countryside, the future of a diet perhaps without meat, and how that would affect the beauty and tranquility of the countryside. I think a lot of the problems that appear with the magazines such as this is that they're quite against wind turbines and things like that. So the magazine has to tread a very fine line between retaining the countryside as it is and then accepting that we have to adapt to kind of future change. So we do have to be quite careful with our features.
Has there been a particular feature, or is there a particular area of features coverage that is very popular with readers?
People tend to like art-focused features, a lot of more general features. I mean, we do tend to do quite a few issues-based features, but it's the general ones that celebrate the lost villages of England or the modern art in the countryside and how that fits in. It's those kind of celebrations, really, that tend to really work with our readers.
Now, you're editor of Countryside Voice. Are you editor of some other magazines as well?
I do edit a range of magazines, including a travel magazine called Summit, and a few other magazines for the WRVS, the Women's War Voluntary Service.
So you have, as well as working for the publisher, you also work for a range of clients.
Yes.
So Summit magazine, that's for a hotel group, is it?
It is, yes. I mean, the challenges are quite different because obviously they're not a charity, and the idea is to present a very high-end magazine with very limited budgets, and that's something that I think Customer Magazine do particularly well, whereas a lot of newsstand competitors would be more likely to have very high budgets.
So as a journalist who's become an editor, do you like Customer magazines because you edit more than one title?
Absolutely. I think you can be really kind of channeled and pigeonholed in the kind of consumer and newsstand industry. And what's great about customer magazines is you can really get under the skin of the magazines. You can really make them your own, and you can educate the client as well. I think that's a really interesting point because at the end of the day, they want to communicate well to their members, and the editors are a really key part of helping them do that.
And customer magazines are very important, aren't they? Aren't they amongst the best, the highest circulation magazines in the UK?
They are. I think they are they're underestimated, but they are actually a really, really important part of publishing. And the fact is that most people that pick up a magazine are more likely to spend 25 minutes with the magazine, whereas if you get a flyer through your door, you're not having the same conversation. And I think for customers for organisations that really want to work with their customers, customer magazine is vital.
Thank you.